Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. And it's the month of June, so we're doing our June Storm. And this year's theme is the OSR. And I'm beginning to sound like a broken record, but as I've said before, there are lots of different OSR games out there, and each one does something a little bit different with the rules to present a different feel to the game while providing you with something familiar, hence old school. So, the book we're going to look at today is considered an OSR game, but it uses an entirely different rule set than the standard D20 that we're all used to. Today we're going to look at Savage Swords and Sorcery. This book has 145 pages and a copyright of 2024. It was published by Zephyrs, and all of the artwork in this book is in black and white, and it's pretty decent. So let's go ahead and look at that artwork. All of the artwork in this book is in black and white. And it's pretty decent artwork as well, with that real old school feel to it. It does a really good job at providing a proper tone and mood for this game. It even provides pictures of the covers of some of the magazines that this game took its inspiration from. To play this game, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this core rulebook and some 10-sided dice for rolling percentiles. That's it. You might need a random die of something else for certain tables, but for the most part, just D20s. Character creation in this game is pretty easy, but kind of weird. The first thing you're going to do is come up with background for your character, and you'll decide things like whether your character is male or female, your birthplace, and that will depend on where your game master is placing his game. You'll also get your language from wherever your birthplace is, and you also have to figure out your parentage, who your mother and your father are, and what your father does for a living. You'll have to figure out your siblings, where you place amongst them, and all that. Just basically story background for your character. After you get all that, you'll figure out your talents. And talents are like your skills in this game, and you've got some main talents that these skills will fall into. And those categories are your prowess, your fighting, your endurance, your knowledge, your perception, and your insight. And there are many different talents under each of these, which are basically your skills. And you'll get 40 points to split up amongst all of these. And you can place them however you want and buy whatever talents you want. However, there are a few things that you have to follow when doing so. Number one, you can put no higher than 7 in a talent at character creation. You have to have one talent in each of your main talents, and you have to put 1 point in the talent that would go along with whatever your father did for a living. Though after that, you can place them however you want. You can also pick weaknesses, and weaknesses are like drawbacks that your character have to put up with while you're playing your character. Things that will hinder your character. But for each of these that you take, you'll get 10 more points to spend on talents. You don't have to take any weaknesses, because some of them will really affect your character. After that, you'll figure out what the base for each of your main talents are. And the way you do that is you add up the total number of points you have in that talent and divide it by 10. So you'll wind up with some of your main talents with a starting score of 0, but that's okay. Characters start off pretty weak in this game. After that, you figure out your equipment, and there are a couple of different, and there's a chart of equipment, and you pick a piece of equipment from each portion of the chart. And that's character creation. It's very simple, Very quick, very easy. The rules in this game are different. It's a D100 system, meaning everything's percentile. And when you go to use one of your talents, now what you'll do is you'll look at the chart that they have in this book. And it's kind of hard to find the chart. Why they didn't put it with the normal information in the book, I don't know. But what they did was they placed the chart in the very back of the book. So if you don't realize it's there, you'll miss it. They also give you some websites that you can visit for the charts and stuff. But they give you a small chart that you can use. And it'll help you come up with either a marginal, acceptable, a total, or a heroic success. And it tells you how to figure it out, what you need with your score and your talents. And that's pretty much it for the rules. Now, combat is handled standard, I guess. You check the appropriate talent for whatever kind of attack you're making, whether it be range, melee, or hand-to-hand. Check the chart, and it'll tell you whether you hit or miss. And there are bonuses that can help you out. Now, you do damage in this game, but you want to be careful. There is a talent under endurance called damage, and that's pretty much your hit points. So if you don't put anything there, you don't have any hit points, and if you get hit, you're going to get messed up really quick. So make sure you have some points in damage. But your armor that you wear in this game, instead of providing you a bonus to be hit, it helps soak some of the damage done to you. And we've seen that before. This game has everything you need to play it. Now, it reads very confusing. And it took me a few times to get what it was saying on certain things. But I did figure it out. So if you're new to the game, new to tabletop role-playing, this is probably not a good game to start with. Unless you have somebody with you that is familiar with the rules. And like I said, this game has everything you need. It has charts for determining adventures and places and stuff. It has a carousing table, so in your downtime, you can get it up to all kinds of mischief and either gain some benefits to your character or some negatives, depending on how you roll. It's got a bestiary, so you have creatures to fight, and tables to make NPCs for your game. And it takes like the old Conan stuff. This book is actually uses the rules for TSR's old Conan game that they came out with in the 1980s. They just filed off all the Conan stuff. So there's that. And other than that, like I said, it reads very confusingly, but luckily they provide a very in-depth layout in the front of the book so you can find what you're looking for. So that's a bonus. There's no character sheet that you can copy and use for this game, which is alright. You can use standard paper. But, like I said, it's based off of the old pulp magazines and the fantasy sword and sorcery from there, the Conans and stuff. So, if you're wanting that kind of thing, it's neat. They even provide in the back some of the covers to the old magazines that these stories were found in, like the Weird Tales and stuff. So that's kind of nifty. And that's really about it, except for magic. There is magic in this game, but it works differently. There's no spell table. You have magic talents, and it tells you what you can do within that talent, and then you can do different things with it, as long as you can work it out in your mind. But magic is really punishing in this game. Every time you learn a magic talent, you gain a magic weakness, and some of them even require you to spend permanent points of damage for just casting the spell. So, yeah, magic is punishing, but can be very scary and powerful. And this brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? And yeah, sure, it's something different. I've never played the original Conan games, so this would be kind of interesting. Would I run this game? Truthfully, I can probably say probably not. There are other games I'd rather run. This game's interesting, but it's not really my cup of tea. Would I recommend this game? If you're brand new to tabletop role playing, it's going to be a hard no for me unless you got somebody that's familiar with the rules. But if you've played for a while and you want something different, this may be something you would like to look into. Other than that, that's pretty much all I can say about it. Thank you for joining me at a look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.